Jake stood in blazing heat, his dying baby Tyler crying weakly in his arms. $20 wasn't enough for the life-saving formula. Strangers ignored his desperate pleas for help. Then Dr. Elena Rodriguez appeared, a grieving mother who'd lost her own son but chose to save theirs. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. The scorching afternoon sun beat down mercilessly on Jake as he stood outside the busy pharmacy, his 4-month-old son Tyler whimpering weakly in his trembling arms. Sweat dripped from his forehead, mixing with tears of desperation as he approached yet another customer hurrying past. "Excuse me, ma'am." Jake's voice was hoarse from dehydration and hours of pleading. "My baby needs formula. Could you please help us? Just a few dollars?" The well-dressed woman pulled her designer purse closer to her body and hurried past without even glancing at them, her heels clicking against the hot pavement as she escaped to her air-conditioned car. Jake had been standing there for over 3 hours in the blazing heat. His ancient pickup truck had broken down 2 blocks away, steam rising from its hood like a death rattle. He'd walked here carrying Tyler after discovering they were completely out of baby formula at sunrise. The crumpled $20 bill in his worn wallet wasn't enough for the expensive specialized formula Tyler needed. His precious son had a sensitive stomach and severe heart condition that required the medical-grade formula costing $45 per can. 6 months ago, Jake's world had been completely different. He worked as a skilled mechanic at Tony's Auto Garage, earned decent money, lived in a comfortable 2-bedroom apartment with his girlfriend Amanda, and they were both excited about becoming parents. Their future seemed bright and full of promise. Everything changed dramatically the day Tyler was born with a serious congenital heart condition requiring immediate emergency surgery. The medical bills arrived like an avalanche, burying them deeper each week. Amanda couldn't handle the overwhelming stress of a critically ill baby, the constant hospital visits, and the crushing financial pressure. One cold morning, Jake woke up to find a hastily written note on their kitchen table. "I can't do this anymore. This isn't the life I wanted. I'm sorry." She had emptied their joint bank account, taking every penny they had saved, and disappeared without a trace. Jake lost his job because he needed to stay at the hospital with Tyler during multiple life-threatening surgeries and recovery periods. Without steady income, he couldn't pay rent and lost the apartment. Now they lived in his deteriorating pickup truck, moving from parking lot to parking lot, shower to shower at truck stops, trying to survive day by day. Today, even the truck had finally given up on them. "Sir, are you all right? You look like you're about to collapse." Jake turned slowly to see a woman in her early 30s approaching with genuine concern in her dark eyes. She wore a simple blue dress and comfortable shoes, carrying a medical bag. Her name tag from the nearby community clinic read, "Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Pediatric Medicine." "My son." Jake's voice cracked with emotion as Tyler's cries grew increasingly weaker, which terrified him more than loud screaming. "He needs special medical formula for his heart condition. I've been trying to buy it all day but—" He showed her the wrinkled $20 bill with shaking hands. "It's not nearly enough, and he hasn't eaten since early this morning." Dr. Rodriguez looked at Tyler's pale, almost gray complexion and immediately recognized the dangerous signs of dehydration and malnutrition. Her medical training kicked in instantly. "When exactly did he last eat? And what's his specific heart condition?" "Around 6 this morning, but that was the very last of what we had. He has hypoplastic left heart syndrome. The truck broke down and I've been walking around for hours trying to find anyone who might help us." Jake's voice broke completely. "I don't know what else to do. I can't watch him die." Without a moment's hesitation, Dr. Rodriguez made a life-changing decision that would alter all their destinies forever. "Come with me to my car right now," she said with gentle authority. "I just finished my shift at the clinic, but I can help you both immediately." Jake hesitated, his pride warring with desperation. "I don't have insurance anymore. I can't pay for a doctor visit or treatments." "You're not paying for anything," Elena said firmly, already guiding them toward her modest sedan. "You're accepting help from someone who understands exactly what you're going through." Elena drove them directly to her small, cozy house instead of returning to the clinic. Once inside her air-conditioned home, she immediately began washing her hands and preparing supplies with practiced efficiency. "I'm going to be completely honest with you about something very personal," Elena said as she gathered clean towels. "I recently had a baby boy who passed away from the exact same heart condition your son has. His name was Gabriel. I stopped breastfeeding only 2 months ago after we lost him. I can still nurse Tyler if you'll let me." Jake stared at her in complete disbelief, overwhelmed by her selfless offer. You would do that for us? After losing your own precious child? Elena's eyes filled with unshed tears, but her voice remained steady and determined. Maybe this is exactly why I went through that unbearable pain. Maybe I was meant to help Tyler survive when Gabriel couldn't. Maybe you both are the reason I had to experience that heartbreak. She sat down in her comfortable rocking chair and gently took Tyler from Jake's exhausted arms. The baby latched on immediately, his tiny hands relaxing for the first time all day as he finally received the life-giving nutrition he desperately needed. Jake collapsed heavily into her soft couch and buried his face in his hands, sobbing with relief, gratitude, and overwhelming emotion. I don't know how I can ever thank you for this kindness. You don't need to thank me, Elena whispered softly, stroking Tyler's fine hair. Just let me help you both heal. That evening, Elena prepared her guest room with fresh sheets, soft blankets, and everything Jake and Tyler would need. She had already made the decision that they weren't leaving her home. I work at the free community clinic 4 days a week, Elena explained over a home-cooked dinner, the first real meal Jake had eaten in weeks. The other 3 days, I volunteer at the children's hospital in the cardiac unit. I could really use help with my work. Someone to assist with filing patient records, organizing medical supplies, helping struggling families navigate the complicated insurance system. With your experience dealing with medical bills and bureaucracy, you'd be absolutely perfect for the position. Jake couldn't believe what he was hearing. This seemed too good to be true. You're offering me a real job? A safe place to stay? Why would you trust complete strangers? Elena looked lovingly at Tyler sleeping peacefully in the portable crib she'd quickly set up. When I lost my son Gabriel, I thought my purpose in life was completely gone. But maybe my true purpose is helping other children like him survive and thrive. Maybe you and Tyler are exactly the reason I had to endure that devastating heartbreak. The new arrangement began the very next morning. Jake proved to be incredibly helpful and compassionate at the clinic. His personal experience dealing with overwhelming medical bills, confusing insurance companies, and bureaucratic nightmares made him perfect for helping other desperate families navigate the broken system. Patients immediately connected with him because he understood their fear and desperation firsthand. Elena continued nursing Tyler twice daily while also carefully monitoring his complex heart condition. Under her expert medical care and constant attention, Tyler began thriving like never before. His color improved dramatically, he gained healthy weight, and most importantly, his heart grew stronger each day. You literally saved his life, Jake told Elena one peaceful evening as they watched Tyler playing happily with colorful toys on the living room carpet. We saved each other, Elena replied with a gentle smile. Weeks turned into months of contentment. Jake and Elena discovered they shared identical values, similar dreams, and compatible personalities. Both had experienced devastating heartbreak, both believed deeply in helping others less fortunate, and both were completely devoted to Tyler's well-being and happiness. Romance developed naturally and beautifully between them. They would talk for hours after Tyler went to sleep, sharing their deepest fears, wildest hopes, and impossible dreams. Elena told Jake about Gabriel's short life and how losing him had nearly destroyed her faith in everything good. Jake told Elena about Amanda's cruel abandonment and his ongoing struggles with feeling like a complete failure as a father. You're not a failure, Elena assured him passionately. You stood in that scorching parking lot for hours trying to get help for your son instead of giving up. You never abandoned him when things got impossibly hard. That makes you an absolutely incredible father. 8 months after that life-changing day outside the pharmacy, Jake found steady, well-paying work as a head mechanic again. But instead of moving out and starting over, he asked Elena to marry him and build a life together. I don't just want you to be Tyler's caregiver anymore, he said, getting down on one knee in their cozy living room while Tyler played nearby. I want you to be his real mother. And I want to be the loving father Gabriel never got to have with you. I want us to be a genuine family. Elena's joyful tears were her answer before she even whispered, yes. They married 6 months later in a beautiful, intimate ceremony at the clinic where they both worked tirelessly. Tyler, now walking steadily and completely healthy, carried the wedding rings down the aisle with proud determination. Many of their grateful patients attended, celebrating the couple who had helped them through their darkest struggles. Elena legally adopted Tyler, giving him her last name and all the love in her heart. They began excitedly talking about having more children together. But their hard-won happiness was about to face its most challenging test yet. 2 years after their wedding, Amanda suddenly returned without warning. She had heard through mutual friends that Jake was now married to a successful doctor and living comfortably in a nice house. Suddenly, after years of silence, she wanted Tyler back. "I made a terrible mistake," Amanda claimed tearfully in family court. "I was overwhelmed and scared back then. I want my son back now that I'm in a much better place financially and emotionally." The brutal legal battle was emotionally devastating for everyone involved. Amanda had married a wealthy businessman who hired the most expensive lawyers money could buy. They ruthlessly painted Jake as an unstable, unfit father who had been homeless and desperately begging strangers for help. He couldn't even provide basic nutrition for his child, Amanda's aggressive lawyer argued before the judge. "My client deserves a fair chance to be the mother she wasn't emotionally ready to be before." Jake and Elena fought back with everything they had, spending their savings on legal fees. Elena testified passionately about Tyler's complex medical condition and how she had provided expert care since he was just 4 months old. Jake never once abandoned Tyler, Elena testified with fierce emotion. When he had absolutely no money and no options left, he spent hours in blazing heat asking complete strangers for help rather than giving up on his son. When Tyler needed multiple heart surgeries, Jake slept in uncomfortable hospital chairs for weeks. That's not an unfit father, that's pure love in action. The judge ordered extensive psychological interviews with Tyler, now a bright 4-year-old. When child psychologists asked who his mommy and daddy were, Tyler immediately pointed to Elena and Jake without any hesitation. "That lady," Tyler said about Amanda with confusion, "I don't know her at all. Mommy Elena takes care of me when I'm sick and reads me bedtime stories." The final hearing was intensely emotional. Amanda's legal team presented their case aggressively, arguing that biological mothers deserved second chances regardless of past actions. Then Elena took the witness stand with quiet dignity. "Your Honor," Elena said, her voice calm but filled with strength, "I completely understand the importance of biological connections. But true motherhood isn't about genetics or biology, it's about showing up consistently every single day. I've been Tyler's mother since he was 4 months old and dying. I nursed him when he was literally starving. I held him through 3 terrifying heart surgeries. I celebrated his first steps, his first words, his first day of school." Elena looked directly at Amanda with unwavering resolve. "You left Tyler when he needed you most. You took Jake's money and disappeared while your son was fighting for his life in the hospital. For over 3 years, you never once called to check if he was even alive. Now you want him back because our life looks successful and stable? Children aren't possessions you can abandon and then reclaim when convenient." The judge deliberated for 3 agonizing weeks. When court finally reconvened, the room was packed with supporters from the clinic and their community. "This court has carefully considered all testimony and evidence presented," the judge began solemnly. "While I acknowledge Ms. Amanda's biological relationship to the child, the overwhelming evidence clearly shows that Mr. Jake and Dr. Elena have provided consistent, expert, loving care during the most critical years of this child's development. Tyler's complex medical needs have been expertly managed, and he has thrived remarkably in their care. Custody remains permanently with Mr. Jake and Dr. Elena Rodriguez." Amanda stormed out of the courtroom in anger, but Jake and Elena simply held each other tightly, overwhelmed with relief and gratitude for justice. That night, as they tucked Tyler into his bed, he looked up at Elena with his bright, trusting eyes. "Mommy," he said thoughtfully, "the lady in court said she's my real mommy. But you're my real mommy, right?" Elena knelt beside his bed and took his small hands in hers lovingly. "Tyler, sweetheart, there are different kinds of mommies in this world. Some mommies help babies be born and some mommies help babies grow up strong, healthy, and loved. I'm the mommy who chose to love you and take care of you every single day of your life. That makes me your real mommy forever." Tyler smiled brightly and hugged her tightly. "I love you so much, Mommy. I'm really glad Daddy found you that day. I love you too, my brave, wonderful boy. Now get some good sleep." Years passed peacefully and prosperously. Jake opened his own successful auto repair shop, specializing in fixing cars for low-income families at truly affordable prices. Elena became the respected director of the expanded free clinic. Tyler grew into a healthy, happy teenager who volunteered enthusiastically at both the clinic and the auto shop, learning the value of helping others. The most meaningful part of their continuing story happened every week when they volunteered together at the local food bank. Jake, Elena, and Tyler worked as a team serving meals and providing essential resources to struggling families in their community. One particularly hot summer day, almost exactly 15 years after their first life-changing meeting, a desperate young father approached Jake at the food bank. He carried a crying baby and looked completely defeated. "Sir," the man said, his voice breaking with emotion, "my daughter needs formula. I've tried everywhere but I can't afford it. Please, can you help us? Jake smiled warmly and put his reassuring hand on the man's shoulder. Let's get her fed first, he said with genuine kindness. My wife is a pediatric doctor. She can help immediately. Then we'll figure out everything else together. As Jake led the grateful man to Elena, Tyler watched the familiar interaction with understanding far beyond his years. Dad, Tyler asked later with curiosity, is that exactly how you and Mom met? Jake nodded, watching Elena examine the baby with the same gentle, expert care she had shown Tyler years ago. Sometimes our absolute hardest moments lead directly to our greatest blessings. Do you really think their story will have a happy ending like ours did? Jake looked at his beautiful family, Elena now holding the stranger's baby, discussing feeding options with the worried father, Tyler already gathering supplies to help. He thought about the thriving clinic they ran together, the garage that helped countless struggling families, and the hundreds of lives they had touched with compassion. I absolutely know it will, Jake said with complete confidence. When people choose kindness over judgment, when they choose love over fear, genuine miracles happen every single day. That evening, driving home together in their comfortable car, all three of them united, the extraordinary family that pure compassion had built, Jake reflected deeply on how one moment of complete desperation had led to a lifetime of meaningful purpose. The very best families aren't always born from traditional circumstances or conventional beginnings. Sometimes they're forged through shared struggles, mutual care, and deliberately chosen love. Sometimes they begin when someone sees past the desperate surface to the loving heart underneath. Sometimes they start with a complete stranger who has everything to lose but chooses to give everything that truly matters most. Hope, healing, home, heart. And always, that's more than enough to build a genuinely beautiful life together.